All right. Thank you to those who are just joining us for our virtual college exploration STEM days in partnership with Cachet, which stands for College Admissions Collaborative, highlighting engineering and technology. This is the Drexel University information session. We do have more sessions available at strivescan.com/virtual/STEM through Thursday evening. So feel free to check more sessions out if you're interested. When you get a confirmation email from us, you do get a barcode in that confirmation email, but know that the barcode's not necessary for any of the virtual events that you participate in. All of our sessions are being recorded and posted to our website shortly after the session concludes. So feel free to check back on our website if you want to re-review any of these recordings. You'll notice that you'll be able to see the Drexel team. You'll be able to hear them. Unfortunately, they cannot see or hear you. This is webinar style format. So any questions you have throughout the presentation, feel free to submit those into the Q&A box, and the presenters will do their best to address those throughout the presentation. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Abigail. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Jen, are you just able to confirm that you can see my screen, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending this information session on Drexel University. My name is Abigail Dixon, and I'm an admissions counselor on the undergraduate team. Today, I'm also accompanied by Catherine Campbell-Perna, an associate director on the undergraduate team as well. We were having a little bit of technical difficulties earlier, but Catherine, are you able to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Campbell-Perna. I'm Associate Director on the Freshman Admissions team, also an alum of the university, and I work with a lot of our programs in the College of Arts and Sciences, and specifically our 8-year medical program.
Great, thank you. So we will be talking for about 30 minutes today, and then we will be taking your questions at the end of the presentation as well as throughout. So we'll go ahead and get started now. So just a little bit of background on Drexel University. We are a Tier 1 research institution located in University City of Philadelphia. So a little bit of basics about Drexel University. We have over 15,000 undergraduate students at Drexel, but we actually have a student faculty ratio of 11:1. So you're really getting the best of both worlds at Drexel. You'll get the large library, lots of different clubs and activities to join, lots of excitement around sporting events, but you do get that intimate class size. So you'll really get to know your professors and peers very well. Despite the small class size, you'll see that our students are coming from all over the country and all over the world. So when it's time to graduate, you'll be joining a robust network of fellow Dragon alumni, so that when you look for a job, you'll have that built-in network of support. And this can also come into use even earlier on through our co-op program, which we'll touch on shortly. So you really do have that robust network that you'll be joining. So Drexel has over 80 majors across 13 different schools. So this really gives you the opportunity to build an interdisciplinary education, either by majoring across 2 different schools or perhaps majoring in one school and minoring in another school. If you're not sure what you want to study yet, that's perfectly okay. We do have a first-year exploratory program. You can sample classes across these different schools your first year declaring a major. Or say, for instance, you know that you're interested in going into business, but you're not sure if you're interested in pursuing marketing or finance, etc. You can come into our LeBeau College of Business as undecided and sample different classes your first year before declaring. And this opportunity applies to a number of our different colleges throughout the university. We also have a custom design degree. So if you have some very diverse but particular interests, you can actually pick and choose your classes throughout your time at Drexel to create your own major. We had a student who did this, recently graduated. Her name was Emma, and she combined her interest in paleontology and digital reconstruction. She actually worked with a professor in our Westfall school to simulate how a dinosaur who had lived in Argentina would have walked in virtual reality. So just an example of something you can do with a custom design degree. We also have about 20 accelerated degrees. So if you're interested in gaining your undergraduate degree and graduate degree in a shorter amount of time, you can do that as well at Drexel. So no matter what you choose to study at Drexel, you'll have access to what's known as experiential learning, which is a fancy way of saying hands-on learning. And this can take a variety of shapes depending on what you're studying. This picture is an example of experiential learning for fashion design students. So this picture is taken from our annual Westfall Fashion Show. Westfall is our College of Media Arts and Design, and this event takes place at the Urban Outfitters headquarters right in Philadelphia every year. And what's really neat about this project is it's completely Drexel run, everything from the fashion designs to the marketing of the event to even the catering. So if you are interested in fashion design, you're actually going to get to see your designs worn by professional models before you graduate college. Now, as I said, this can take a number of different forms depending on what you choose to study at Drexel. If you're interested in pursuing finance, we have what's known as our Dragon Fund, which is a student-managed equity portfolio. It was started in 2007 with about $250,000. And since then, our students have grown it to over 2.2 million. So you're really getting to test drive your major while you're still in school to see if this is something that you're gonna wanna do long-term. Another example of experiential learning is if you're interested in our College of Nursing and Health Professions, we actually bring in patient actors to work with our students. So our students get experience diagnosing and having clinical conversations with real people. It's a very involved process. We have a whole makeup studio that our actors will go through to simulate what it would be like to work in a real life setting. So if you take away one concept from today's presentation, I'd like you to remember that you'll be combining what you learn in the classroom with real-world hands-on experience. And you're going to be guided through all these different types of hands-on learning through professors who are either closely connected to their field, either through practice or through research. So at Drexel, your major does not define what you can do. You can really go outside the realm of your major and try out all different activities and fields of study. We've had students start their own businesses at Drexel. One of our recent graduates, Evan, started a company called Sharing Excess. The way it worked is about a week before the term ended, he checked into the dining hall and he realized that he had about 50 unused meal swipes. So he actually checked out those remaining meals, packed up his car, and drove around the city of Philadelphia to hand those out to people in need. Since then, he's expanded his business to 2 other schools in Philadelphia and is planning to expand to other cities this coming year. As I mentioned earlier, we are a Tier 1 research institution, and you can actually get involved in research as early as the summer after your first year. We have what's known as the STAR Research Program, which stands for Students Tackling Advanced Research. So you'll get to be working with a professor. They'll mentor you through that area of research your first summer, and you'll actually get to live on campus and earn a stipend for participating in that research. We have a number of study abroad opportunities. You can go abroad for up to 6 months as we are based on the quarter system. And we also have what's known as intensive courses abroad. If you decide that maybe 6 months is a little bit long for you, you can be in the classroom with your peers and faculty member, and you'll study a different culture or learn about a different city, and then you'll all go together abroad for about 7 to 10 days. So you can try it out, see whether or not you like it. We also have an opportunity to go abroad if you're interested in co-oping abroad. I will be transitioning into talking about co-op very soon, but it's a great way to go abroad and try it out working in a different country. One of our students recently went to work in Dublin, Ireland. She was in our culinary arts program and actually worked in a Michelin star restaurant in Dublin. So a great experience for her to get some hands-on work experience in a different setting. Finally, we have a number of performing arts ensembles across campus, regardless if you're in a performing arts major or not. And we also have a host of scholarships for those ensembles as well. So if you're interested in getting into the performing arts outside of your degree, you're welcome to do that. Okay, so moving on to co-op. If you're familiar with Drexel or you've heard our name before, you're probably heard about the co-op program. Co-op is 6 months of work experience in your field. So you're gonna get to go and work for a company to really test out your major and see if you like it. And at Drexel, you can pick between getting 6 or 18 months of work experience. So you're really gonna get comfortable seeing what it's like to work in that field. And getting up to 3 different co-op opportunities means that you can try out 3 different jobs. So you may learn that you like something and it validates that the current major that you're in, you feel comfortable going forward, or maybe you learn that perhaps this major isn't the right fit for you. That's perfectly okay. College is the time to explore, and if you want to change your major, you still have time to do so. One really nice perk of the co-op program is that in addition to building your resume, you'll be coming out of college as a strong competitor when it comes to apply to jobs, but you're also going to be, most of our co-op positions are actually paid positions, and the average salary per co-op is between 18 and 19,000. So you can earn some money while you're building your resume, and you can put that money towards college loans, or perhaps you want to save it for the future. That's obviously up to you. So this year we are celebrating 100 years of co-op. We've really built a robust way to help our students be supported through the co-op program. In addition to being given an academic advisor, you'll also be given a co-op advisor. So there'll be somebody who can hear what your interests are and what you're interested in doing long term, and they can help find possible jobs that may be of interest to you. You'll also take a Co-op 101 course your first year. We'll talk about important skills for the job force, such as how to interview, talking about what to wear to an interview, how to write a proper thank you note after you go on that interview. So they'll really set you up for success when it comes time to find that position. Also, in addition to the Steinbreit Career Development Center, so I just want to talk to you a little bit about the opportunities that some of our students have taken through co-op. So we've had one of our students who was an education major went and worked in a classroom during her co-op, and she learned that she actually didn't enjoy working with kids as much as she thought she did. So as I mentioned earlier, that's perfectly fine. It really gives you a chance to test drive your major, and if you find that it's not going to be the right fit for you long term, then you can come back to campus and try something new. Another one of our students who went to work for co-op was a marketing major. She went and worked for the Philadelphia Eagles the year they won the Super Bowl. And being part of a Super Bowl winning team, she actually got a Super Bowl ring for being part of that team. So just some really cool things our students are doing on their co-op. The Steinbreit Career Development Center has a database of over 1,700 companies. So a large variety of offerings for you to explore. And these offerings are also throughout the Philadelphia region. So if you'd like to live on campus during your co-op, you're welcome to do so. But they're also throughout the country. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have international co-op positions as well. So if you'd like to return home while you're on co-op, you're welcome to do that. Live at home for 6 months, you can do that, or maybe check out a new city or country. You're welcome to do that as well. So as I mentioned earlier, we have 2 different tracks that you can choose from when it comes to co-op. You can either gain 6 months of work experience or 18 months of work experience. So for the 6 months, you will be in school for 4 years, and you would do co-op for 6 months. So the blue boxes are class time and the green boxes are co-op. So as opposed to the 5-year curriculum, you would do 3 co-ops, which ends up being 18 months of work experience. You'll see that we are a year-round institution, with the exception of your first summer, which you do have off. But you'll still get traditional holiday breaks as well as a week between each quarter. These are some of the numbers that we're seeing coming out of Drexel. We find that 88% of those who are working full-time are working in an area or a profession that's closely related to what they studied at Drexel. And we attribute this to the co-op program. Our students are going out and driving their major and figuring out if this is going to be a right fit for them long term. And perhaps more importantly is that 92% of those who are working full-time are satisfied. Again, we attribute this to exploration during your college search process and really finding something that's going to be the right fit for you long-term. So I'd like to move on to student life now. We definitely want you to enjoy your time on campus while you are a student at Drexel. So we are located in what's known as the University City section of Philadelphia, which is made up of Drexel University, the University of Pennsylvania, and the University of Sciences. So there's a lot of life going on around our campus. We are surrounded by restaurants and different shopping opportunities, so really vibrant community. We actually are Division I athletics, and we also have club and intramural sports as well for you to partake in. We have 350 student organizations to join, so there's really something for everyone. If you decide that you'd like to create your own club, or you find that there's a club that you'd like to join that doesn't currently exist, you can certainly create that through our student activities board. One really fun aspect about being a Drexel student is that our campus is surrounded by food trucks, really unique and popular thing throughout the city of Philadelphia. We have lots of different cuisines represented, so it's a good way to grab a quick bite on your way to class. If you ever get to visit us on campus, I would encourage you to check out Cucina Zapata. It is a notable food truck. They're most well known for taking tilapia fish, rolling it in Captain Crunch cereal, and frying it. So if you get to come visit us, I would encourage you to check out one of our food trucks and perhaps Cucina Zapata. We also have our honors program, which is the Pannoni Honors Program. We recently just opened a new state-of-the-art living community, so you can live alongside fellow honors students, and it's a really nice way to enhance your time on campus. We have specific courses that are designated to honors students, and they tend to focus on very particular topics. We had an honors course that focused on one particular Shakespeare character, versus we had another honors course that focused on a particular baseball card. So it's really just a great way to enhance your time at Drexel, and also our honors students will go to different events together on campus as well as throughout the city of Philadelphia. So as I mentioned, there's a lot of life going on around campus, but that's really true throughout the city of Philadelphia. We're actually home to over 250,000 college students. So while we're known as being a very historic city, it's really youthful and full of life. And being a year-round campus, you really get to take advantage of all the city has to offer. If you find yourself in Philadelphia during the summertime, we have lots of different great parks to take advantage of. One of my personal favorites is Spruce Street Harbor Park. It's right along the river. They have food trucks there as well. And it's a great place to grab a hammock in the summertime and hang out with friends. Also, being year-round campus, you can take advantage and go to all the different sporting events that we have throughout the city of Philadelphia, maybe catch a baseball game, so that's a lot of fun as well. We're a very easy city to get around. Drexel University is located about a block away from 30th Street Station, which is our main train hub. And from there, you can easily get across the city of Philadelphia. It's about a short ride to the Philadelphia airport. If you're to drive to the Philadelphia airport from our campus, it's about a 15-minute drive. And our campus is also a block over from a bus depot, where you can easily get discounted tickets if you'd like to go to visit New York or DC for the weekend. It's a short ride away, and you can get that for as cheap as $10 or $12. While we're talking about the city of Philadelphia, a couple of additional things. If you ever find yourself visiting the city of Philadelphia or Drexel, I would encourage you to check out Reading Terminal Market. It's a giant food vendor, lots of different food stands of all different cuisines. And it's actually home to the oldest ice cream company in the country, Bassett's Ice Cream. So something fun for our students to partake in as well. Also, one fun tradition that our students like to partake in is when it snows in the winter months, our students will walk over to the Philadelphia Art Museum, which is famous for the steps that Rocky ran up in the movie, and they like to go sledding down the steps. So something to look forward to if you join Drexel Community. So I will now move on to the application process. So we are on the common application as well as the coalition application. You're welcome to apply through either one. And we're looking for the standard materials. So the Drexel Admissions Committee operates on a holistic review, which means that we're taking into consideration all different aspects of the application. So we're looking obviously at your transcripts. This year, I will note if you're applying for fall 2021, we are going test optional. We do understand the implications that the coronavirus has had on the ability to test. So if you decide to not submit test scores, that will not negatively affect you, as we're really looking at all the different pieces of your application. So the essay, letters of recommendation, all those traditional materials. There's two additional pieces that I would encourage you to submit, and that is the FAFSA and the CSS profile. So these are two pieces that we need to consider you for the most amount of financial aid possible. The CSS profile is money from the institution in the form of need-based aid, and the FAFSA is money from the government in the form of loans. So we really need both of those to consider you for the most amount of aid as we consider financial aid a partnership between ourselves and the government. When you apply, you'll automatically be considered for merit-based aid. One additional tool I would encourage you to check out is is called Scholly. That's spelled SCHOLLY. It was actually developed by a former Drexel student who was looking for financial aid scholarship opportunities prior to coming to Drexel. And he actually found over $1 million of scholarship money for himself. So again, that's Scholly, SCHOLLY, and that's a great opportunity for outside private scholarships. This is a breakdown of our tuition and scholarship, average scholarship package. About 98% of students receive aid, and the average financial aid package was just under $31,000 last year. These are our application deadlines. You are welcome to apply early decision, early action, or regular decision. So early decision and early action are the same deadline. The main difference is that early decision is a binding application. So if you're accepted to a school early decision, that means that you are expected to be attending that school. Early action is a non-binding application. It just allows you to get your decision back from the university a little bit sooner, and you'll be able to weigh your decision across different universities and also be able to weigh your different financial aid packages that you'll get. We also have a regular decision application, which is due a little bit later, just gives you a little bit more time to put your application together and feel like you're putting your best foot forward. One application deadline is not better than the other. You're welcome to submit any time that you feel most comfortable. I strongly encourage that you keep an eye on the CSS profile and the FAFSA deadlines, as they are hard deadlines, so just be sure that you are monitoring those. If you decide to transfer into Drexel, we are very transfer friendly. It's a little bit more on a rolling basis. So you're able to really apply once you feel that you are ready. You'll be considered for the same financial aid applications, financial aid opportunities that you would be if you applied first year as a first-year student. So we are very transfer friendly if you're interested in that opportunity. These are some ways that you can stay connected with us after today's question and answer session. We have our admissions blog, which is a great way to find out different tips and tricks from our admissions staff ourselves about navigating the application process. You can also easily identify your admissions representative just by searching Drexel University admissions representative. We're all happy to help you regardless of where you're coming from. I'm personally the admissions representative for Staten Island, upstate New York, Connecticut, and Southern California. So if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them at our Q&A session. My email will also be provided on the next slide. So this is my contact information. If you have any questions that you would think of after today's presentation, please feel free to reach out to me. We will also be responding to any questions that we're not able to get to in today's presentation window. So I'm going to now stop sharing my screen so that we can open it up to the Q&A portion.
Okay, sorry about that. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, Catherine, thank
Okay.
you. We can hear you.
I had a meowing cat I had to take care of, so sorry, everyone. So working from home. There are some questions some people came through, and I know I answered a few on the chat. I just want to make sure people are aware of. Do you want to talk a little bit more about any additional requirements? Well, actually, I can bring it up then. People asked about additional essays and that sort of thing. And Drexel only requires an additional essay for our Westfall College of Media Art and Design. So if you're looking to apply for things like architecture or music industry or game design or digital media, interior design, fashion design, graphic design, things like that, they do have a second essay. It's called the Writing Supplement. You can submit through your common application or coalition application. When you're being reviewed for those majors, it gets reviewed by us first in the admissions office, but then it gets reviewed by the individual department heads and those departments. So when you're writing that, you're writing it for them to be reading it. They will still look at your traditional essay with your application. However, that specifically they're really going to focus on. About half of those majors do require portfolios as well. Even if it's a major with an optional portfolio in the design college, I would still strongly recommend submitting one though, especially for majors like music industry. The only other major that has an additional requirement is the 8-year BSMD medical program that we have, and that has a College of Medicine supplemental application. You can find all of that information as well as the essay that's needed for that on our website. Just Google Drexel BSMD program. Okay, and there's been some questions about test optional and how that works, and if we require both the SAT and the ACT. Do you want to talk about that, Abby?
Sure, I can take that. So in terms of, we are test flexible, so we do accept the SAT and the ACT as well as some other tests if you would like to submit those as well. You can just easily search Drexel University Test Flexible and you can see what other tests we do accept. Our average SAT score is a 1296 last year, and our average ACT was ranged between a 25 and a 30. For the SAT, we'll take the super score, and the ACT, we will take the highest composite score. And as I mentioned earlier, we are test flexible for fall 2021. And with our holistic process, really, if you choose not to submit the test score, we really review students in their context. So we do understand the implications that not having the availability to take the test due to coronavirus, we understand that that is an issue. So that will be not be negatively impacting your application if you choose to not submit it.
And we had a question about the transfer admissions process. If you're looking to transfer to Drexel, if you've completed 24 more college credits, you would not need to provide a high school transcript or SATs or ACTs. If you have less than that, then you would want to provide your high school information. And since we're going test optional, I guess that wouldn't be necessary for next fall, SATs or ACTs, but we would still need that high school transcript. Another question came through asking about if we use demonstrated interest. No, we don't. However, we always encourage students, if you can come to campus and visit, obviously we don't have any visits right now, but hopefully very soon we'll have visits. Strongly encourage you, and that's for any school you're looking to apply to. I strongly encourage coming to visit. You can connect with your admissions counselor. We have them all listed. If you just Google Drexel admissions representatives, you can see who has your state or your region or assigned based on where your school is located. So it can't hurt to connect with them, especially if you have questions, because we are the ones reviewing your application, but we don't actually have a record for demonstrated interest as far as making decisions. Next question we have coming in is talking about public safety and what measures we take to ensure public safety. I am an alum, so I have lived through the Drexel experience and worked on the campus for more than 20 years now. And Drexel really does a lot. With the area we're in, University of Pennsylvania is right next door. So we have the Philadelphia police patrolling our area. Drexel has their own police force. University of Pennsylvania has their own police force. We have just a large number of people in a very small area. So everything is very well lit, very secure. I always laugh if we have an open house on a weekend, you know, they make sure I need to show my ID to get into our athletic center. And I always laugh, like, why would I be here at 9 a.m. on a Saturday if I didn't need to be here? But they will check. You know, the library, you know, they're very strict for our residence halls. You can't just enter a residence hall, even if you're a parent or a sibling or a friend. You must have, if you're not coded to be a resident of that residence hall, you have to bring ID with you. They have to be signed in at the front desk, and the person has to sign you in and sign you out, so they know who's in the building at all times. All right, let's see if we have some other questions I think have come through here. Let me scroll down a little bit. Abby, you want to take this? Are there any out-of-state costs for students outside of Philadelphia?
Sure, thank you. So being a private institution, tuition is the same, regardless of where you're coming from. However, we do encourage students to think about costs such as transportation for getting to campus, perhaps any other resources that may be particular to you or your family. But for the most part, it remains the same regardless of where you're coming from.
Okay, and a question about what's it like to double major at Drexel? Well, at Drexel, you can indicate a first choice major and a second choice major, but you're only accepted directly into one major. However, if you want to add a double major or you want to add a minor, that's something you can do with your academic advisor. Talk to them when you're a current student. Some majors may be easier to double major in than others, especially if they're in the same college or same department. Sometimes it might just be easier to do a minor in that area. And again, Abby mentioned some of our combined bachelor's master's programs too. So there are a lot of different options. You know, you can see our catalog. Anybody can view that. Just Google Drexel catalog, and you can see how much in common the different classes that are required for each major are. Now, a question about the future. How will test optional play in the futures for 2022 or 2023? I don't think either of us can answer that. I think we really need to see what happens this year. So we will keep you posted. But as of now, we're just taking it, you know, 1 year at a time right now.
Also, I can just add to that. I'm not sure if you had a chance to post this in the chat box or not yet, Catherine. We have a designated coronavirus website where it's a great resource as updates are being made in different policies and things like that. We're posting that all on our coronavirus response website. And for now, we don't know how it'll look in the future, but I would just encourage you to keep an eye out on that as things continue to evolve and change.
And a question about if Drexel accepts dual credit for dual enrollment. So the way that would work, you're still applying as a high school senior. If the classes count towards your high school graduation requirements, then it would not count towards credit. But if it's something beyond what you would need for high school graduation and it's a C or higher, and you send in an official college transcripts, then your academic advisor and your academic college would then review that for credit. So it has to be at the level you'd be taking when you get to college too. So if it's below that, that wouldn't count. All right, we have another question about how do you apply for the accelerated degree programs, like getting into the bachelor's, master's programs? So what will happen is first you're reviewed as an undergraduate student for that major. So let's say you pick mechanical engineering. So first you'd be reviewed for mechanical engineering. But if you indicate the bachelor's, master's, or, you know, for example, the 8-year BSMD program, that's a second step in the review process. So it doesn't hurt you to apply to the undergrad program. It won't impact the undergrad acceptance, but it is a second review. Some of these accelerating combined programs are pretty competitive. For example, the engineering one isn't limited. So if you and your 5 friends are all as equally academically talented, you could be all accepted for the program. However, for a program like our 8-year medical program, that only has about a 2% acceptance rate. So that is very, very competitive, has an interview process. So there are multi-layers of that review process. Okay, next question is about sports. Abby, do you know much about sports? If not, I can take this one. Does Drexel have a dive team? And if it does, what requirements are needed to get in?
I'll allow you to answer that one.
Okay. I do have some friends who are actually on the diving team, believe it or not. Yes, we do have a swimming and diving team. Again, we are Division I. So you would have to reach out to our coaches. You can just go to our athletic page, drexeldragons.com. All the coaches have their contact information listed, and you'd want to reach out to them directly and follow all the NCAA rules for contacting them. But you would work with the coaches. You still obviously need to apply to the university. That's kind of a secondary review process there. But if you're looking to play any, Division I sport, you want to reach out to the coaches. All right, Abby, you want to take, how does Drexel go about AP credits and scores?
Sure. So in terms of AP credits, they will be evaluated by an academic advisor in the department which you intend to pursue your major in. And essentially, they're going to be providing you with a transfer credit evaluation. I believe it's within 2 weeks after you enroll. Is that correct, Catherine?
Well, I mean, well, for high school kids, it's usually not done till the summertime.
Oh, right. That's
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
right. So, yeah.
I see we have a number of different forms of AP questions.
Okay,
here.
and then as far as, I hope okay, we have a couple here. AP courses. So because so the AP credit, just so everyone understands how credit will be evaluated, we have over 80 different majors. So how the credit is evaluated does vary per college. For example, Biomedical Engineering does not take credit for AP Biology, supposedly, but you can be a biological sciences major, it does take credit. For the most part, if you have 4s or 5s, you receive some sort of credit. How many classes you would receive credit for would really depend on that course as well. And someone asked if that means they're going to be in a higher level than that. And again, it depends. You work with your academic advisor. You know, if, for example, I deal with a lot of students who want to go to medical school, and they may have so much AP credit, they could waive out of all their freshman biology and chemistry and even physics classes. That's probably not recommended because you're going to need that information when you take the MCATs if you're looking to go to med school. But you would, you know, work with your advisors. You know, maybe you get a 4 on something, but you don't really feel comfortable with that area. And you want to retake that class, that's completely fine. You don't have to take the credit, but that's something you can discuss with your academic advisor if you decide you're coming to Drexel and they have a wealth of knowledge and experience of working with students related to that. Question, do you want to talk a little about housing at all? Are students guaranteed on-campus housing?
Sure. So the question is, are students guaranteed on-campus housing? So we do have a 2-year residency program where you can we ask that you live on campus for the first 2 years. After that, students tend to move off campus. We have a lot of campus affiliated housing, which isn't technically on Drexel's campus, but it's so close by that you can easily walk to campus. So a lot of students choose to go that route. But if you'd like to stay on campus, you can.
And some of that affiliated housing is actually connected to Drexel Building. So for example, University Crossings, if you're a music industry major, you can actually, I think, well, no, maybe not the music, no, the film and video studios are in that same building. Or across the street at Chestnut Square from our office, you wouldn't even need to put shoes on to go to the cafeteria because it's all connected. So there's a lot of great options for campus housing. As far as campus tours, unfortunately, we're not open for tours yet. We do have an online open house this weekend. If anyone would like to meet with someone related to a different academic college or major, and that's going to be online this weekend. But hopefully this is you're going to be added to our contact list. And once we are open for tours, we will notify you and, you know, keep an eye out on our website because we miss everyone and we hope to be back on campus soon.
And you can also take a virtual tour online. We know it's not a substitute at this time, but you can also take that as well. Just search Drexel University virtual tour. But yes, we hope to be open soon.
Oh yes, and in part of our daily visit now, I forgot to mention that. So we have a presentation kind of similar to what Abby just did. We have available usually at least once a day, sometimes more during the weekend, some weekends. And our tour guides now, what they do is it's a they're still pictures. They're not actually videos, but they are live and giving the tour of what you would be seeing if you were standing in that different part of the campus. So you can see how the campus connects. You get a direct student perspective. And so that is after the information session every day. And I encourage you to check that out ahead of time, maybe before we're open for tours, but the student ambassadors are doing a fantastic job with that. I was helping with that on Monday last week. Question about being online. So currently right now, the majority, I would say probably the majority of the classes are going to be online this fall. However, there are some classes that are going to be open for in-person as of now. Some of the lab and studio-based classes, for example. So it's really a case-by-case scenario depending on students and their majors. We do have some classes that are going to be in person this fall.
We have a question about if you have questions about certain majors, should I contact the college or the admissions representative? You're welcome to contact either. If you can find your admissions representative based on where your high school is located, you're welcome to contact us and we'll provide you with any information that you request. If you'd like some more very specific nitty-gritty about the program, you're also welcome to contact the college as well.
Yeah, sometimes it might be easier to contact admissions. I know students can be very creative when searching our website. They don't necessarily go to the right person. So for example, with our 8-year medical program, occasionally someone will contact a med school professor directly and they're like, what do I do with this? So it might be better to start with the admissions office and we can give you the representative for that college so they can connect you to the best person. So they're not confused with who you are and what your questions are. Down here. Is there a communications major? Do you mind if I take that? So yes, there is definitely a communications major. That was my major when I went to Drexel. They have several different branches. There's the let's see, technical and science communication. There's a public relations field as well. There's a general communications major, and there's a global communications too. So there's a lot of different areas for communications that you'd like to, if you'd like to pursue. Also, I always like to mention, because sometimes it gets a little confusing, we do have a TV and film major, which is in our Westfall College of Media Art and Design. So that's not actually with the communications major in arts and sciences. All right, a major in biotechnology. So there's not specifically a biotechnology major. There's biomedical engineering. There's biological sciences. There are, many different concentrations and things like that, but there's not a full separate altogether biotechnology major. You might want to do a minor in one of like a computer science or the more technical aspects of the university too, to kind of combine that together.
We also have a master's of biotechnology if you're interested in going to grad school.
I know someone just asked if we were open for tours. Again, we're not open for tours yet, but hopefully soon in the next few months, we hope to be open for tours. I'll click that I answered these live. So 1 second here, and just so we note that these have all been answered. Are there any others coming in while we're still on?
It doesn't look like it yet.
But definitely I recommend you. Our website is really a wealth of information. I know there were some questions earlier about undecided options too. And if you're not sure what you want to major in, that's completely fine. Or maybe you have a couple different options, but we had the first year exploratory studies major. I always like to say it's a fancy name for undecided, and you'll get a lot of additional guidance and advice throughout your freshman year to pick a specific major. You can maybe take a couple different classes in various different areas. And then of course, a popular question, can I change my major and is that okay? I always say I'm a good example of that. I changed my major 3 times freshman year. Because a lot of times you think you might know what you want to major in, but you're not really sure. And, we understand, especially if you're a high school student, maybe you're applying for something based on the favorite class you had in high school. I know I personally started as a business major because I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. And I figured business was, broad enough and general enough. I was thinking maybe international business. So I started in that. And I had some friends who were in the global studies major, which is in our arts and science college. So I switched into that, and that did have more of a language requirement. I think there's, languages, some people are better with languages than others. I have a friend who can dream in French and German. I'm like, okay, I was not on that level. But you kind of found out if that was a good fit for you or not. But I met a bunch of communications majors my freshman year, because you have 3 sets of courses for the quarter system your first year. And I met a lot of upperclassmen in the communications major. And the great thing about Drexel, when you meet an upperclassman, not only can you say what have your classes been like, but you can say what have your co-op jobs been like, and that can really help you solidify, what are you really interested in doing. So I was taking a journalism class taught by one of the writers from the Philadelphia Inquirer, which is our major newspaper here in Philadelphia, and that's where I met these communications majors. And young woman who sat behind me, she gave me the name of her academic advisor. I made an appointment with her, and learned about the major and the required courses, and I switched into that by the end of my freshman year, and that's what I stuck with in the end. I wound up still getting a business minor because I'd already taken some business courses, and that just seemed like the best route at the time. But you can definitely change your major if you're going through the admissions process in your senior year and you change your mind. Let the admissions office know you would have to be reevaluated for your major. And as a current student, you would have to work with the advisors to see, as far as space availability, that kind of thing, as far as options and switching into majors. But yes, it is pretty common to change majors. questions about the co-op and the pandemic and how that's impacting things. In fact, I mentor a current student who's going into her 3rd year, and I reached out to her because she's getting ready to go on her 2nd co-op for the fall. And said, you know, how's everything going? And she was great. She said she was able to still get a co-op with her former company she did her last co-op with, and went through the whole process. So I know our friend Jen is here right now, and I think we're running out of time right now. It's a quarter of.
No worries. You guys did an awesome job. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll be sure that they get the questions that weren't answered so that they can personally follow up. But we want to thank you all so much for being here and taking time out of your schedules to learn more about Drexel. When you exit this Zoom webinar, you will be taken to a quick survey. It's only 4 questions, so we'd love to hear your feedback regarding this particular session. And as I mentioned in the beginning, all of the recordings will be available on our website, and we have more sessions through Thursday hosted by Cachet. So thanks again so much to Abigail and Catherine, and I hope everyone has a great morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are, and are staying healthy, happy and healthy out there. Have a great one.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.